Not yet. So, but let me introduce the next speaker. It's Nuno Freire. He works at Europeana Research and Development, and Nuno's interests are data analysis, data quality, data modeling, novel methods for data aggregation, interoperability. And he will be presenting on the linked data event streams profile for cultural heritage datasets. The acronym is LDES. And Nuno is now in the room. Hi, Nuno. Please share your slides. And then you can take over.
Okay, hello everyone. Hope you can hear me well and hear and see the slides. So yes, I'm going to present this work that has been a collaboration between several institutions interested in working in solutions based on linked data for sharing data within cultural heritage organizations. So I did this work then with members from the Europeana Foundation, from Datoptron from Greece, a technology provider in the Europeana network, the Ghent University by Peter Colbert, who is the main editor of the linked data event streams specification, and Enno Myers, who presented here at SWIB yesterday, his work on linked data and the digital heritage network. Okay, so this group came together and under the context of Europeana. So Europeana is so it's a network in the cultural heritage domain that collects data from cultural heritage institutions from all over Europe, and it works on a central model that uses intermediary aggregators, but in the end, everything is centralized in Europeana. So, and the data transfer within this network is currently primarily done by using the OAI-PMH protocol. So another important aspect of Europeana is that so this data exchange between cultural heritage institutions is done based on a data model, the Europeana data model, which is defined according to RDF and the semantic web. So it's a completely RDF compatible model, and it can be serialized over XML as well. So that's why it can be shared via OAI-PMH. So now in the context now, or in the more recent work of Europeana, so the context is changing a little bit. So Europeana is working towards establishing the common European data space for cultural heritage. So an environment where data sharing among cultural heritage institutions is expecting to work in a little, not as centralized as currently is. And the technologies for data exchange are expected to be more diverse. So not just based on mainly OAI-PMH for sharing data. And in this scenario, within Europeana, we have been working trying to find mechanisms for sharing linked data in particular. So technologies that can be used based on linked data practices and standards, and are very well suited for sharing the data as pure linked data. So last year here at SWIB, I presented the first steps in this work. where we presented the workflow that we have implemented with Dutch Heritage Network to aggregate metadata based on linked data technologies. So, and the process that we are building upon. So, just a short, very quick description. So it is based on the descriptions of the data sets based on the DKTP, which in the case of Europeana will state that the data set has a certain distribution that is compliant with the Europeana data model. So Europeana then finds these dataset descriptions either by querying a SPARQL endpoint, which is the case of the Dutch Heritage Network, or it may just simply be given the URIs of resolvable URLs for the dataset descriptions in the DKTP. So it obtains the DKTP metadata and then is able to automatically identify the distributions of the dataset and download the data dumps for the datasets. So this was the process that was done and I presented here last year. So currently, what I'm presenting today is a technology that is aimed to not be more efficient than just working with data dumps. It's to use a linked data based approach for synchronizing data sets. So, and we are exploring this technology, the linked data event streams. So why the linked data event streams? So first of all, well, linked data event streams were designed for this use case of synchronizing and replicating and keeping a data set synchronized over time. So pretty much like OAI-PMH, what OAI-PMH does. LDES, so it's a pure based on linked data technologies exclusively. And it has a very wide range of applications because it can be it allows for a configuration of many of its aspects, which allow it to be used with different domain-specific ontologies and with different methods to synchronize the data sets. So it has a very wide range of applicability. So there are other technologies similar that provide the same or very similar functionality to LDES. One of them is the FFF change discovery, and another one is the entity metadata management API. So both of these solutions are very well suited for metadata aggregation in the cultural heritage domain. The main difference towards LDES is that LDES is more generic. And it's not so focused just on interoperability, let's say, within the cultural heritage typical use cases, but it really tries to address the synchronization of linked data sets in the more general sense of pure RDF. So the LDES becomes then a technology that is a bit more complex than the FFF change discovery or the entity metadata management, but it has a wider range of applicability and possibly may enable the sharing of cultural heritage data more easily with other domains. So, and this is the key reason why we are exploring LDES. So we focused on trying out LDES and seeing how LDES would be used in cultural heritage. our aim then is to define a profile for sharing and aggregating data from the typical cultural heritage data sources like catalogs, archival and museum collections, authority files, etc., vocabularies. So in cultural heritage, these data sets are typically not RDF natively, but cultural heritage institutions share them as RDF to promote interoperability. So for the profile of LDES for cultural heritage, we are using the activity streams vocabularies activities. So it's the same vocabulary that is used in both other solutions, the IIIF change discovery and the entity management data as well. So the a linked data event stream, so it is a stream that is defined as having immutable objects. So what we are talking about in cultural heritage is about records that change over time. So what we publish in a linked data event streams, so it's not the objects themselves, but it's the members of the stream will be activities on those on the records. So create activities, delete activities, update activities. So and these activities, they are published, they are immutable, but the records that they are talking about, then those can change over time. Something also, while LDES allows any serialization of RDF to be used in cultural heritage, we need to use JSON LD or trig formats because we will be, as I will show shortly, we make use of the RDF named graphs. So we need an RDF serialization format that supports it. So, and here in this example, we see some of the key components of a linked data event stream. So here on top, we have a small part of the configuration where we say that how in our LDES stream, what is the property that we are using for timestamps of the members. And in the second one, we say what is the property that we are using for containing the version of the objects. So this is, so we, as I mentioned, we are using activity streams. If another domain wants to use some other vocabulary, it's perfectly fine, and a client may use, is able to know which properties will be used in the members to apply the logic for synchronization of LDES and be able to collect the data from the stream regardless of whether they know the vocabulary or not. So then here below we see a member of the stream. So it's an activity streams activity. In this case, I create activity made on an object, and the object is then transported as the payload of the activity within a named graph. So this allows to transfer a part of part of an RDF dataset contained in a record. Let's say, so within one activity, we may actually have in the payload several RDF resources being shared. So it's not just a plain simple RDF resource, which is what you find in a cultural heritage record. So Another aspect of the configuration of the LDES stream, so is are all the properties that are used to say what is a create, what is an update, or what is a delete. So here we say that those are these kind of types of activities that we have. We are using in Cultural Heritage, which are the activity streams, activities for create, update, and delete. Another aspect, another configuration of the linked data event streams is the retention policy. So the objective of the retention policy is to say, for a publisher to say that he may not retain in the event stream the complete history of the data set. And there are several retention policies that can be stated. And in cultural heritage, basically, we are generally just interested in the last version of the entities in our catalogs and the authority files. We are not really interested in sharing all the complete history as they evolved over time. So the recommended usage for cultural heritage is to use a very simple retention policy that says that only one version is kept on the stream. So, and this is shown here in the example below. So in the linked data event streams specification, then you will find several other types of retention-based retention policies with different ways for a publisher to say how data will be retained in the stream. Another configuration aspect of LDES are the member shackle shapes. So a stream may also indicate or provide the shackle shape that validates its members. So a data consumer can use that to validate the data that is provided via the stream. So it's provided in a similar property as configuration property as the other cases I have already shown. So far we didn't experiment much with the shackle shaped configurations. We have been playing mainly with EDM datasets, for which we don't have yet a shackle shapes definitions. And I believe that the other implementations in cultural heritage so far have not applied it yet as well. But other domains are already making use of this functionality of LDES. Again, so another aspect of LDES is which of the algorithms should be used for traversing the stream. So because in cultural heritage we are following a chronological order, so there are other ways to use LDES. It doesn't need to be based on timestamps, but that's the case how we are using it. So for cultural heritage cases, so the client should walk through the stream using a chronological search tree. And it should be done in ascending order. So we have worked with some of our partners to test an implementation put in practice. The participants were Europeana, who implemented a client, an LDES client for cultural heritage, and the Datoptron, so the technology provider that implements and supports the MIN tool, which is a cultural heritage aggregation tool. provided the LDES endpoints. So you'll find in the slides the links to the endpoints and the link to the source code of the LDES client for Europeana, which is not ready yet, but will be there soon. I'm not sure how I'm doing on the time.
Yeah, you should finish in 1 to 2 minutes.
Yeah, so I think
We have some time for.
I'm going to skip the demo. If there are any questions where I need to show some detail, maybe I'll go back to it. So to finalize, so these are the other implementations of LDES in cultural heritage that we know about. So Rijksmuseum, some and also some implementations in Ghent. So future work. So as I mentioned, we want to apply LDES in the linked data aggregation method of that is being developed in Europeana. So we want to see how to define how should an LDES endpoint be described in the DKTP metadata. Probably it should be a DKTP data service with some where the base and your endpoint URL is provided. Then we want to identify other use cases, both within the common European data space for cultural heritage, and also the cases of interoperability with other data spaces. So we will be continuing to follow the use of LDES in the coming times. So finally, just the links to the profile of LDES for cultural heritage, and then the more general specification of LDES, and if you want to work cooperate also with LDES on your own domain. You can also contribute to the LDES implementation reports and possibly define your own profile. But of course, you are welcome to cooperate with us on the profile for cultural heritage. So thank you. I'm available for questions.
Okay, thank you, Nuno. Yeah, we have a bit of time left. We have a few questions. One is, will linked data event streams replace OAI PMH?
We are still very far away from being able to answer that question or to achieve that. OAI PMH is something that is in place. It's not really linked data. No one really wants to maintain it, but it's what's out there, and it's already available. So maybe in new implementations in the future, or maybe if LDES is adopted as possibly some of the technologies that are now being made available for data spaces in Europe, then it may be that many people will reuse those tools, and the adoption of LDES will gain pace.
Yeah, thanks. And another question: does LDES or your configuration support efficient pushing of events via the web sub spec protocol from WCC? Are you familiar with it? Web sub?
No, I don't think so. No,
Okay.
the push notifications we have not addressed that part. No.
Okay. I think that have been all the questions. Thank you, Nuno, again. Yeah, this leaves me, as this was the last talk of the last session of SWIP 25, to end the conference with some closing words. First, I would like to say we have already published the post-conference survey in the forum. I'm sure Agi will post the link into the chat as well, and I will also post it in the Fediverse later. So please take some time, a few minutes, to fill out the post-conference survey. Otherwise, I have to again thank all the participants, all the speakers, workshop facilitators, and the people who have presented a lightning talk today for their participation in this SWIP. And we will have another SWIP next year probably, and the next SWIP will be SWIP 26, of course, and it will start on November 16th. It will be once again in the midst of November, November 16th, 2026, and it will be again 3 days. So mark your calendar for SWIP 26. And I think that was everything, or did I miss something? I'm not sure. I don't think so. So goodbye, everyone. I think this was another great SWIP conference, and have a good evening, morning, noon, afternoon, whatever where you are, and see you. Bye.